done. All right, so the other thing that you're going to be asked to do is identify a scale factor given the pre-image and then the new image. So if you look at this picture, so the black is the pre-image, it's the picture I started with, and the blue is the image, okay, it's the end result. So automatically I know this is an enlargement, so that means that my scale factor has to be bigger than 1. It's really good to just kind of keep that in mind so that if you make a mistake or something, that you can kind of catch it. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to pick 2 points, so the pre-image and the image that it creates, and we're basically going to divide it. So I'm going to actually take the x value for t prime, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the x value for t prime and I'm going to put it and divide it by the x value for t. Okay, so basically I'm comparing the same part, the start and the finish. Okay, so if I actually divide that, what I'm actually going to get in this case is 2. So my scale factor is actually 2, and I can check this. If I take the point t and multiply it all by 2, I get t prime. If I take r and multiply it by 2, I get r prime, and if I take s and multiply it by 2, I get s prime. Alright, so basically you're just asking, what do I multiply these points by to get to my image? Okay, now the reason why I talked about the division is because of problems like this. So if you look, this black picture here is the pre-image, is my starting figure, and then the blue is my image. If you notice, it is smaller than the original picture, which means that my scale factor is less than 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick any of these points. Now you may notice that these image points, a lot of these are decimals. I'm going to pick the one that's a whole number. Okay, so I'm going to compare a and a prime. Alright, so if you notice, the x values for a and a prime are both 0, so we don't really see a change there. So I'm going to look at the y value. So I'm going to take the y value for a prime and I'm going to divide it by, let me do it this way. So I'm going to take my a prime and I'm going to divide it by my a. Now, what I want you to notice is that this fraction simplifies. Okay, so I've got negative 2 over negative 4. Well, a negative divided by a negative is a positive number. And then I have 2 over 4. Well, both of those are divisible by 2 to give me the simplified fraction of 1/2. So my scale factor is actually 1/2. This blue image is half the size of this black image. And we could even check it. If I take negative 1, and multiply it by a half, I get negative 0.5, negative 0.5. If I take half of negative 3, I get negative 1.5. And if I take half of negative 2, I get 1. Half of negative 5 is negative 2.5. And then same thing for a, half of that would be 0, negative 2. Okay, so it's always good to kind of make sure that what you get here is, it actually works for all of these points. You could also have put this as a decimal, just so you could kind of see it that way. The reason I left it as a fraction is that a lot of times when they do the scale factor, they purposefully do it as a fraction. Okay, so just a heads up. So if you were doing a question like this, I would narrow down first, is it enlargement or reduction? That'll tell you if it should be greater than 1 or less than 1. That should get you down to like a 50-50 shot. And then if you have decimals and all that, pick the whole number parts, and that'll probably help you find that scale factor the easiest way possible.